From the remnants of Janus City comes a broadcast that will shake the Empire to its core. Rogue One Radio will discuss all things Star Wars and all things in the nerd culture, in and out of the galaxy far, far away.
Hey folks, you are watching Rogue One Radio. This is episode number 75.
Hey, that's awesome. 25 more, y'all.
Yeah.
Now. Party on.
Cool. So, I'm 1/3 of your host team, Steve. Right next to me is Where's Rachel? Oh, wait.
Where's Rachel?
Oh, wait, that's DJ. And then down there is Nicole. And we have a special guest that's joining us a little bit later. Not sure when this person will be here. I think there were some technical difficulties going on.
Technicals happen.
Yeah. Wouldn't be Rogue One Radio without technical issues.
This is true. It's on me.
We might really have some technical issues when we get to the music sections. Because I'm trying out a new process by which to play the music. So it'll either work really well or it will be absolute crap. I guess we'll find out. But I'll tell you what, before we jump into our introduction stuff, I am going to go ahead and introduce our special guest for this evening's show. It is Catwoman herself, Selena Kyle.
I got it.
Hey.
I got it totally
Get
right.
out of town.
I told you. I guessed it right.
They kept it a secret from me. I had no idea.
No. Hold up. They did not keep it. He kept it a secret from us. And I said today, I'm like, if it's not this one, it's not this one. I said it's Shanti. I know.
And I
was sworn to secrecy.
I'm like, WandaVision detective here. Hello. Like,
Yeah, pleasantly
my
surprised.
I'm really liking the background there. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks. I've been using different snapshots that I took when I went to see the movie. So this is literally the screen.
Yeah.
I went to go watch it, the IMAX.
Yeah, that was so cool. The little intro screenshots they did before they didn't do it the second time that I went to go see it. It was only for the sneak preview one.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So how you doing?
Good. I'm so sorry I'm late. My laptop decided to crap out on me right before I jumped on.
We haven't really started. We just kind of jumped in. So what's everyone been doing this week? Let's start with our guest, Miss Selena Kyle. What have you been up to this week?
Working and studying. Like I'm probably going to continue studying after I get off of here, honestly.
Yeah. So you're studying to be an insurance.
Life and health insurance.
Yeah.
So
that'll be fun.
I got one half of the license. Now I got to get the other half.
Good deal.
you can do it.
You can do it.
You can do it.
All right. Well, let's see. Before we continue, who do we got in the chat? We've got Hectolorian and Dragon Buddy and DJ's in the chat. Hey, look at there. And Megan is with us tonight. Very cool. Thanks everybody for joining. And Nicole, what have you been up to this week?
Well, I got to see I said that wrong. Galactic Storm. For those who don't know, they were in the Titanic. They were in the band that was in the bottom, in the third class.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the music where they were dancing and stuff. And I got to see them last weekend. And of course, I got to see the Batman. So I had a few days of pure fun. Been busy reading, which let me show you. So I'm still completing Bridgerton. I'm going to get there, I promise. But picked up some really cool new books for Downington. And found this one today called Rose Run Road. So I'm excited. However, one last one before I hand this over to DJ. I'm actually going to be on Sunday doing a book review of Wishful Drinking with Reaper. So I'm excited. We've done Carrie Fisher before, so we're excited to review one more book as we continue on. So yeah, I've been busy reading and preparing for today.
I'm hearing some meowing. Is that coming
I
from
was
my
gonna
room?
say,
Well,
it's not
you
me.
Michelle Pfeiffer is in DJ's house.
Okay.
That is me.
See? Didn't deny.
DJ, you are meowing.
Well, when Catwoman is present,
When in Rome.
yeah,
Well, you know.
you gotta do what you gotta do.
So, DJ, what have you been up to this week?
What have I been up to? Making preparations to move to our new apartment. And so that's always fun. What else have I been doing? Not much reading. Not a whole lot of much of anything else. I did get to see the Batman, so that's always a positive. I actually took my second oldest child to go see that, and it was good to spend some time with her. And she brought one of her close friends, so we had a good time. Although riding in the back of a Volkswagen Beetle was, not the most comfortable in the world, but hey, I decided to let my daughter's friend sit up front. That way, yeah. But I did have to have some assistance to get out of the. I don't know how clowns do it, but yeah. Other than that, just a whole lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to talk about this topic?
Yes, definitely. Spencer's in the chat with us now. Hey, Spencer. Good to see you guys. Other than work and playing Cyberpunk, I've seen the Batman twice. The first time I went to the sneak preview on Wednesday, and I took Joey. And then Friday night, I took Jayla, my youngest daughter.
Nice.
I did not take her the first time because she actually said she did not want to see it. But after I got home and talked about it, she was like, oh, I kind of want to see that. I was like, I knew that was going to happen. So I plan on seeing it more times.
Me too.
But so we're going to be talking about Batman kind of in general today, but we will take up a good chunk of the main topic time talking about the Batman, since that is the most recent Batman stuff we have been given. Really looking forward to that, hearing everybody's thoughts on the Batman. We do have a little bit of news to cover later on after our first break. But we do have some tunes. And as I mentioned, I've got a new process that I'm going to try to play these tunes. Reason, if you care. So I listened to I listened to a replay of one of our recent episodes. And I noticed that the music is very hard to hear. The sound quality is very bad. So I was like, there's got to be another way to do this. So I'm going to test this out. And so you guys will get to be the guinea pigs on this new trial. I will not find out if it works until we are done tonight, because I won't be able to tell until I listen to the replay. But so our lineup, we've got Batman as our main event. We've got some headlines coming up, and we've got our listener poll toward the end of the show. This week's listener poll was favorite live action Batman movie. So we'll be going over the results of that. And So before we jump into headlines, let's try things out with the first of our music breaks. This one is, where's it at? Okay. This one is from a band called Simon and the Astronauts. They have an album coming out on April 22nd, just titled Simon and the Astronauts. And this song is from that album, and it is called I Have a Name. So
I hope so.
All right, that was Simon and the Astronauts with I Have a Name.
That was awesome. That was a good song.
Yeah, it is. They're good. So we've got some new folks that have entered the chat. Well, new because I have not seen them in here before. So Josh, has he been in here before?
Yes.
Hey, Josh.
That shows you how much how observant I am. Oh, and there's Don from the Escape Pod. He's good to see you in here. I guess that was it. I thought there was one other one that was new, but not. Okay. Cool. Thanks everybody for showing up and joining us in our chat. And before we go and jump into the headlines, I just realized that I forgot to do some housekeeping stuff before our break. We are part of the Red 5 network. Red 5 is a network of podcasts that covers anything you could possibly want, from music to nerd culture to Star Wars to professional wrestling, and whatever you can think of, they probably have it. And you can find all of their great podcasts on red5network.com, or you can go to their Twitter, which is just Red 5 Network. And they've got a pinned tweet that takes you to a link that has all of the podcasts that are on their network. So lots of good stuff on there. And we are very happy and proud to be part of the Red 5 network. Now, if you are watching this on YouTube, and right now I'm sure you are, please make sure that you subscribe and hit that like button. We are 5 subscribers away from our goal of 100. We just need 5 more people, just 5. So spread the word, get them out there. And Nicole, where can they find us on the social medias?
Well, they can find us in 3 different places besides here at YouTube. They can find us on Twitter at Rogue One Radio, as well as Instagram and on Facebook. And yes, that Facebook is beginning to rev up, so you better be checking that out. We might be throwing some new stuff over there as well. I cannot forget that we also have Patreons, which I will send right back to Steve so he can go ahead and go right back over that.
Yes, we are on Patreon. So if you're on, if you are a Patreon, if you're familiar with it, just find us at Rogue One Radio. Right now, our patrons are Dave Brown, Dragon Buddy, and Lunar Girl, and Dawn from the Escape Pod. So we thank you very much. Appreciate your donations. It will help us get more merch. And that's all we need. We need more merch. Which reminds me, I do have orders out for 3 new sticker designs.
Hooray!
So these are 2 new companies that I'm trying out. One of which Dawn from the Escape Pod actually recommended to me. So we're trying them out for 2 of the 3. And then a new one that I found, I don't even remember how I found it. I think it may have been on Facebook. I was accidentally on Facebook one day and saw an ad for sticker design. So why is Spencer calling me Grandpa Steve?
Damn.
Can somebody boot him?
No comment.
Damn.
Kelly!
No respect. Yeah, who's your Blue Wrench person?
Where's the wrench? Give him the wrench.
What do you mean I'm nearly forgetting to plug the Red 5 network? I forgot the entire housekeeping section. It wasn't just the Red 5 network I forgot.
No, that was the whole section. That's all right.
Okay, yeah, it's the whole thing.
Do it, whether at the beginning or the end. It would have happened.
That's because I'm not following my notes. So
What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
I don't know. Well, Don has something to say, and I find this very disturbing. But apparently we get him moist.
How are you doing?
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Maybe he sees a case behind one of us. I don't know.
Hey, you speak and she comes. There's
Beetlejuice.
right? There's the wrench herself.
Yay!
Kelly, I need
Happy
you to
International Women's Day.
to mod and boot Spencer. He's picking on me.
She knows how to time people out. She won't boot. She'll time them out first.
That's right, Megan. It's not age, it's experience or levels.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I say that all the time.
I have made it to level 50.
Woo! That's an excellent level.
Can I start over?
Yeah, really. Can I start this game over? Really? All right.
News, headlines. What do we got?
Headlines. I've got a few. Let's see if I can find them. So, as you know, this is actually Batman related. If you haven't already heard, there is going to be a spin-off, an HBO Max spin-off of the Batman that focuses, at least as far as I've heard, will be focused on the Penguin. But did you know that Matt Reeves has a second HBO Max spinoff in the works? And according to Mr. Reeves, it is going to have a focus on Arkham Asylum.
Sounds about right.
Interesting.
That I think is going to be very interesting.
It was supposed to be about Gotham PD first, and
Well,
they mixed it.
That's right. I was going to mention he was planning to do a series about the Gotham City Police Department, and he now has that on hold. He didn't cancel it; it's just on hold because he's going to focus on this Arkham series, which I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see them both, but yeah, I think that Arkham might actually end up being more interesting because it's going to be. I could see how that could be almost horror related. And
yeah, that's what I want.
Okay, so Spencer's now telling people I'm level 100. What's up with that? All right, guys, boot him.
Pew.
2 minute timeout.
Yeah, give him a timeout. Joker Voice has entered the chat room. Hello, Joker Voice. All right, so so Arkham. What do you guys think about an Arkham Asylum TV show?
I don't know. Honestly, I really don't want to see it.
What?
Kelly, can you boot him?
Why?
Well, I love Batman. I do. I just, after watching like Gotham, the series, I just didn't.
What was that?
My daughter.
Oh, okay.
See,
I thought the voices were back. So many personalities.
I enjoyed that show.
It was good up to like season 3, and then it just kind of went off the rails, kind of like our Red 5 chat, and it just it starts off going well, and then next thing you know, it's over here doing something else. I don't know. I love the movies. Some movies excluded, of course, but I like the big fanfare. I like seeing it on a large screen, and the suspense of like I went into the Batman only knowing just the cast. I had no spoilers whatsoever of who and or what or anything, and it was absolutely amazing. And I don't want it to get watered down, if that makes sense.
I don't think it will.
I don't think it will.
After watching Peacemaker, and this is going to be on HBO Max, I don't think this will be watered down.
Yeah, and with the idea of an Arkham Asylum kind of focus on it, like Spencer was saying, that it's going to be more horror like. So I can see. I kind of hope that they do a lot of kind of backstory into the Arkham family on that show. That'd be kind of cool.
Oh, I'd like that.
Yeah.
And which universe is it going to occupy? It is the Matt Reeves universe?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So that would be interesting now, because after, never mind, it's a spoiler. I don't want to.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
I was just gonna say, I'm like, I'm gonna reveal my answer when we actually get to the review of the Batman toward the end after we've talked about the origins of Batman. So
Okay. Yeah, good deal.
let me get there.
All right, let's see. What else do I have in the news? We have any former or current skaters in the audience? Okay. HBO is about to release a Tony Hawk documentary.
Interesting.
Ooh, I'd watch that.
It's going to be called Tony Hawk Until the Wheels Fall Off, and will explore his life, career, and the ongoing legacy of the skating legend. It will feature, of course, interviews with Hawk and other interesting interviews that you'll get are from now some of these names I know. You might not know who I'm talking about, but DJ might. Stacy Peralta, Rodney Mullen, Mike McGill, Lance Mountain, Steve Caballero, Neil Blender. Wow, that's pretty cool. Christian Hosoi, and many others. So it's going to be, it's also going to have feature never before seen archival footage.
Cool.
Around the life of skateboarder Tony Hawk. And it will debut on HBO and HBO Max on Tuesday, April 5th.
Nice.
And there is a trailer. So if you just jump on YouTube and search Tony Hawk Until the Wheels Fall Off, you should see that trailer. Yeah, back in the day, I was a skater. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing this.
Yeah, I went to a few skate competitions back in the day. They in Providence, Rhode Island is where the X Games started. And then when they got big and moved on, they created something called the Gravity Games, and that started off in Providence, and I was part of that for a little while. That was a lot of fun.
I think the chat must be having some
I'm gonna
fun.
murder DP.
There's something going on in there. What? Josh is asking if Don has a towel handy. What's going on in there?
I don't know, something about bread pudding. I don't know. And then Private Pumpernickel.
Yeah, I don't. So you were demoted from a general to a colonel, and then now
Chibati's
Colonel
now
Chibati.
you're a
That's the running
private
joke. And Kelly likes to defend me, saying that I'm not bread, hence the name switch now.
I see. Yeah.
Okay.
But now I'm being demoted to Private Pumpernickel. Oh my god. You guys behave. I'm here to talk about and thirst over Batman. What?
Really,
Apparently,
He's Jeremiah.
Apparently, Joker Voice was a skater too. He's talking about
My
the
reference
Bones
for
Brigade.
skating is Brink, the Disney movie.
And his first deck was a Neil Blender. That's cool. Very cool. My first deck was a Mike McGill.
Nice.
And then I think my second one was a Mike Vallely.
My first one that I tried and I was unsuccessful with was Bob Burnquist.
There we go.
All right, what else do we have in news?
I think we have
I
I had a Nodoscopus one too. Okay, on to more news. Another TV series based on a video game is in development by Amazon, and it is a live action series based on the God of War series. Okay, thoughts? Anybody?
Not my arena.
Nope, my arena.
Sorry.
Not my arena.
I've never played it, but I know that it's pretty. I mean, it's fairly popular.
It's all right. It's a retread. So,
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Amazon is putting a TV series together.
I
based
couldn't
on
be.
that.
It's probably will be along the same lines as Witcher.
Okay. All right. No. Sounds like we're going to put that headline in the I could care less file. All right. Last piece of news. Star Wars has cast a Parks and Recreation star for a mysterious project.
Chris Pratt.
No.
I hope not. I'm
You
so
will
sick of
never
him.
guess this.
Is
It
he?
is
Oh, Ron Swanson.
no.
I wish.
It's Jim O'Hare who played Jerry Gergich.
Jerry! Jerry! Jerry!
Yeah.
Terry, Larry, yay! Gary. Awesome.
So yeah, so he is being tapped to be part of a in development Star Wars project.
Good for him.
Oh, that'd be
I'm
cool.
so happy for him. That's
Oh, yeah.
great.
That is awesome.
Maybe they could get him to play a young Emperor Palpatine.
Oh my god, I love Jim O'Hare.
Don't play with DJ's emotions that way. Exactly. See?
Excellent.
So there are some rumors out there that it has to do with season 3 of The Mandalorian, but that is just a rumor.
Interesting.
But yes, Jerry Gergich in
Oh.
Star Wars. That's going to be awesome.
How exciting.
Nice.
That was a great show.
It was.
Yes, I enjoy
I
it.
watch it all the time.
Yeah, I probably watch it way too much.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's up there with Friends now.
Yeah, I keep saying eventually we need to do a Parks and Rec episode.
You should.
That could
Oh my God.
that could be a lot of fun. All right, well, that is it for the headlines. So coming up after this next break is our main event where we're going to talk some Batman stuff. I know you're all chomping at the bit to do this. So let's get this.
Get your towels.
Let's get this music break done.
Dripping saliva.
All right, so this one is by a band called Elway. They've been around for a while. They have a new. I must have.
Batman, she's already right to the topic.
I am ready. Look at him. Look at him.
We're ready. We're like, oh, we're ready.
Gorgeous.
Batman.
Okay.
All right.
The two
Now,
pictures are like
Calm
ready.
down,
Take time.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Okay. So the band is Elway. They have a new album coming out on April 1st called The Best of All Possible Worlds. And the song I'm about to play is called The English Wishbone. And if I can get my mouse to work here, I will play it.
Summer fading quickly, burning nostalgia, careless, baby. I don't wanna think about it anymore. Sooner or later it'll all start fading. And we'll have all the time we need some more. If I can ever turn the clock back, baby, I can make it like we never met at all. And I can get around my soul today. Oh, knowing everything's my fault.
Well, I don't know what happened with the image, but it did not show up. That was weird. After all the work I did, yeah, really, not really any work on that. All right. That was Elway with the English Wishbone. And now it's on to the main event. We're going to talk about Batman. So,
Yeah.
I
I was gonna say I went to the store today because I was going to, during the break while we were off, I was going to put on a Batman mask thing, and they're all sold out. I could not find anything. It was like a Batman section it had like one box of very similar to the figure that Chantal has there, but it was all busted up and crinkled. Looked like somebody probably tried to take it out of the package and got caught doing it and put it back. But yeah, no masks or anything out there that I could see. So I thought that would have been fun.
Cool.
Shows how popular he is.
So, Batman.
Yes.
He is a DC superhero. And his first appearance was in March of 1939 in Detective Comics number. Anybody want to guess?
27.
Very good. That was a very good guess. Or very good at Googling.
Or somebody did some research.
Very good. I am very
What's research?
All right. So
Show prep?
Show prep. What's that? Okay.
That's how I feel
So next question. You probably, if you did your research, you will know this. Who was the character created by?
Oh.
Two people, Bob Kane and Bill Finger.
Very good.
Anyone?
Yes.
Yeah, not that finger, Shanti.
Oh, this
We know you.
So he's been around for quite a while and gone through various iterations, of course. He's had quite the career in comics. For an old man, he's doing really well. Don't say a word, Spencer.
Spit take.
All right, that was unexpected.
So, Nicole, do you want to kind of give them a rundown of what we are kicking off today?
Sure. Absolutely. Well, as you heard Steve mention, or shall I say the Vengeance mention, we are going to be starting off a series about Batman and his supporting characters. Today, we're going to be very specifically looking at the Batman and the Batman review. And as you just heard with Steve, he did come out in the late 1930s, 1939 being very exact. And I'm going to hand it back over to our host so we can continue on with the conversation about the Batman.
Yes. So, as she mentioned, today is mostly going to be focused on discussing our thoughts on the Batman. We've got a couple of things also that we're going to talk about. We will have a future episode about the Rogues Gallery specifically. We'll probably be doing one, if not more than likely more than one, about the live action movies. We will do at least one on the animated Batman TV shows in all their glory. And then if we left anything out, we can do a general shenanigans Batman show about anything that we missed.
Shenanigans?
Shenanigans.
That's
So
our name.
I love shenanigans.
It'll be a lot of fun. And we'll talk a little bit more about live action Batman movies in general, like very, very general, when we get to our listener poll for tonight. But before we jump into, actually, Joker Voice just made a very excellent point about the creators.
Mm-hmm.
Not so fun fact, Bill Finger actually did not get recognized until Dark Knight Rises.
That is very. Yep. One made a money deal and one didn't. One had to hold off.
So, before we jump into our thoughts on the Batman, I thought we would go through a list of essential Batman reading. So this is just a quick list that I put together of storylines kind of off the top of my head that I think are essential for anybody possibly just entering into the Batman world, asking, where do I start? And these are just a few. Oh my gosh, I say just a few. There's quite a few actually of Batman essential reading. And any of you, if you have any to add to this, feel free to do that. But let's start with Batman Year One, which came out in 1987, and it was written by Frank Miller, and the artist was David Mazzucchelli. Actually, one of the few Frank Miller works that Frank Miller didn't actually do himself. And this, of course, as the title suggests, it was not necessarily an origin story, but just basically a story of his first year. Next one, you probably have heard about this. It's called Batman the Long Halloween. And that was it's in graphic novel form now, but it originally came out in 1996 and 1997. It was written by Jeff Loeb, and the artist was Tim Sal. And they actually did a sequel, which I also included on this list, called Dark Victory. That one came out between 1999 and 2000. Next is Batman Hush. This is actually probably my favorite Batman storyline. It came out originally in single issue form and then as a graphic novel. Originally came out between 2002 and 2003. It was also written by Jeff Loeb, but the artist on this one was Jim Lee, a very well-known comic book artist. Another addition from writer and artist this time, Frank Miller, was The Dark Knight Returns. Came out in 1986. And that was kind of
long ago.
Yeah,
that's my birth year.
Oh,
yeah, that was a good one.
Or TJ.
Yeah, that's the type of stuff that makes you feel really old. Yeah. So here's a newer one. There's 3 volumes out right now. It's called Batman Earth One, and it's kind of a reimagining of Batman and his origins and that sort of thing. It's written by Jeff Johns, and the artist was Gary Frank. And it started in 2012, and the latest volume, Volume 3, came out in 2021. Another one, which I'm pretty sure you guys will have heard of, is called Nightfall. Definitely an essential reading. That came out between 1993 and 1994. And this actually had quite a few creators. It wasn't just one comic book that this big crossover event came through. I would say the most well-known writer from this time period was Chuck Dixon, who did a lot of Batman stuff. So definitely one you want to check out. Another fairly older one that you might have heard of came out in 1988, was called A Death in the Family. And that was written by Jim Starlin, and the artist was Jim Aparo. And that was, if you don't know about that, that was the storyline where they killed off Jason Todd. Mm-hmm. Shortly after that one came out was a storyline in 1989 called A Lonely Place of Dying. It was written by Marv Wolfman, and the artist was another big, well-known name, George Perez. So that came out in 1989, and that I think the thing that story is most well known for is it's the introduction of Tim Drake as Robin. But definitely worth putting on your essential readings list. I'll get to you guys in the chat in a second. I know there's some more additions here. I'm getting there. Another one from 2012, written by Scott Snyder and drawn by artist Greg Capullo, was The Court of Owls. Really good story that kicked off DC's New 52 thing. And there's Spencer talking about my age again. About to kick you out for good. No. Okay. I've got a couple more. This one was a series that came out between 2017 and 2018. It was drawn and written by Sean Murphy, and it was called Batman White Knight. And that is kind of a futuristic look at Batman. At this time, he's kind of become a vigilante again, like the police don't like him and basically want him to stop doing what he's doing. And it's all kind of based around that premise. And then the last one I have on my list is the entire James Tynion run of Detective Comics, which ran from 2016 to 2018. James Tynion did a really amazing job on this run of Detective Comics. There were a bunch of different artists. Eddie Barrows was a guy who did a good chunk of it. All right, let's see what we have in the chat for what they think is essential reading. Let's see, Joker Voice. You've got Year One. Okay. Dark Knight Returns. Already said that one. Egos. Oh man, I forgot about that one. Crap. Okay.
Add it to the list. Hold up. I want to address something that Joker Voice just said in regards to Batman being a criminal, and he always has been, which, kind of yes, no. So real quick history here. Post World War II, Batman is when they kind of took him from being the dark, murky side to being more campy, as they called him, more, Boy Scout-like, to, change the way it was looking. That's when that first original change happened. You know what I mean? It's that first one. Of course, it was not, I don't think it was until like after the 1960s that we kind of finally went back, slowly back the other way. Minus, 1992 when, well, that's another bunny home. But just to address that, because I did notice that, Spencer.
Okay, so I need to address something because I think Joker Voice was possibly offended that I did not include something on this list. I did not include the Killing Joke because
let's see if it's for the same reason that I just put a comment. Let's see if it's for the same reason.
I haven't gotten to all the comments. I feel that's more a Joker story than a Batman story.
Me too.
While it does feature Batman in it, that is more I mean, as the title suggests, it's more focused on Joker, which is why I did not include him in my list of Batman essential reading.
Mhm.
But I'll give it to you. It is a Batman comic, but
He's
yeah. So let's see if he's got anything.
that's for sure.
He also mentioned that, and I was actually going to bring this up later. Earth One was the main inspiration for this movie. And Shanti, I'm not mentioning every novel published. There's quite a few more.
It's a hell of a list.
It is a hell of a list. And I could go further because there's a lot more I would tell people to read, but this is kind of this would be for those new.
Here are the 20 books to
Batman.
read.
Here's 20 books to read.
Start with these.
Right here.
And I want a 10
There's a whole library.
And I want a 10-page book report on all of them.
Thank you.
Front and back.
That's what I'm just saying. I'm like, oh, this could be easily an article.
It really could. Ooh, that could be a Patreon exclusive.
Moving on.
Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the Batman. Where to begin? Let's start with overall thoughts, just overall of the movie and Batman's jawline. Well, you really changed your name quite a bit. Okay, well, let's start with our guess. Batman's jawline. Woof. Overall thoughts.
I love this movie. And I loved it even more upon the second viewing because at first I was like, I'm trying not to compare because again, I said it on one of the other streams that I've been doing about the movie is every director has its own vision of Batman. So it is kind of hard for me to compare because it's different stages, it's different ages, it's different universes, whatever, however you want to look at it. But with that said, I know everyone wants to compare it to The Dark Knight because I think up until this point, I think a lot of people can agree that that's the best one that we've had really so far. And after watching it a second time, I actually would put this movie above The Dark Knight now. Like that's how much I loved the Batman. I think this has just been the truest representation of Batman. I thought Robert Pattinson did such a great job. And I really wish I could meet Matt Reeves and shake his hand because I feel like he really had a lot of respect for this character that's been around for so many decades. And everyone knows Batman. So thank you so much, Matt Reeves. I hope this reaches him somehow because I really loved this movie. I want to go see it a third time. I want to see it as much as I can before it hits HBO Max.
Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole?
Oh, I loved it. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. My heart was probably pounding about 96% of the time. I mean, I have a few little nitpicks, but they're literally nitpicky. They're not really even anything against me. It was excellent.
Okay. All right, Jeremiah.
Well,
who looks suspiciously like DJ.
What do you think the J stands for? Never mind. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I think it had probably the most variety out of any of the other movies to date. It had the detective part of it. It had a noir feel to it. It had a decent villain. I still don't think that I would say that the Riddler was my favorite villain so far out of all of the movies. Paul Dano did a very good job with it, but it wasn't my favorite villain portrayal. It captured everything that I would want from a Batman movie, and it told it in a new unique story that we haven't gotten before, and which I really, really appreciated. It wasn't a retread of something that we've seen. It was something completely new. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this movie was great. I want to go see it more. I really like you said, DJ, I really like the detective aspect of it, that they focused on that. And this movie was great. And I'm still not 100% sure I would say it's my favorite Batman movie. Although, as I talk about it more and probably see it more, it could probably end up that way. But there was like Nicole was saying, I have a few nitpicky things, but overall, the movie was just absolutely amazing. Which leads me into the next specific topic I would like us to discuss, and that is specifically casting. The casting in this movie was just phenomenal. There was not, I don't think there was a bad choice of casting for any of this movie. Like, going in, obviously, I had some reservations about Robert. But coming out the first time, it was just like, for the type of Batman that, like the type of story and the type of portrayal of Batman that Matt Reeves was going for, I can't really think of anybody else I would have put in that role. He was just so amazing. Also, Andy Serkis as Alfred, that was just so awesome. Mm-hmm. He did so great. And this is kind of where I think he kind of was going for that Earth One style of Alfred. And that's one of the nitpicky things I had. I was like, there wasn't enough Alfred.
That was my one nitpick.
I would have liked to have seen more of him, just because he was doing that job so amazing. What casting do you guys want to talk about? What were some of your favorite castings from the movie?
Well, I mean, Pattinson did an amazing job with it. I've never seen a Batman that didn't really give a crap that he was Bruce Wayne. It's everything that we've seen so far. It's even from Keaton. He's in the big house. He's got the statue room or the armaments room, and and he's throwing parties and things like that. This is to me was the first down to earth type Batman that we get.
It's interesting that you bring that up, and Shanty might be able to attest to this, but that was one of the things going out the first time. I had to think about it for a while. I was like, I'm not sure what I thought about his portrayal of Bruce Wayne. Something felt off about it. And then when I had, overnight to sleep on it and think about it, it kind of, the whole idea of what Matt Reeves was going for and what Robert was trying to do, I was like, yeah, I think I really like that. That you've got to look into it from the perspective of, who this character is. He's still fairly young. His parents are dead. He's got this mission focus. He doesn't give a shit about being a socialite, playboy type character. He is, I've got a job to do. I don't give a crap about any of your accounting people or my business. I'm Batman, and that's who I want to be. So this Bruce Wayne thing is just kind of a side job.
He's vengeance right now.
Right.
He's not even Batman. He's
So-
vengeance at this point.
Yes.
So
My second one is I really enjoyed the actor that played Jim Gordon.
oh, Jeffrey Wright.
Yes.
And I know I've seen him in something before. I can't place it, but to me, he's what brought really that noir feel to it.
Mhm.
You know, it wasn't a Gary Oldman, role. It was more of a get down and dirty, help investigate, kind of detective feel to it.
Mhm.
And I thought he was perfect for it. He played it so well. And then the third, I had one. Now I lost it. So, Carmine Falcone. I was
Turturro.
not sure how John Turturro was going to do in this
Mhm.
role, but I thought he knocked it out of the park. I was completely 100% believing in that character by the time that it was over, and yeah, it was a really cool role to see.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
there's three for me.
There you go. All right. Who else would like to talk about some casting choices in this movie?
Well,
I'm
I'm
gonna-
going. Go ahead, Shanti.
No, you can
You're
go.
No, go
Are you
ahead.
sure?
Yep.
Okay, so it's no secret. I've been a big supporter and champion for Mr. Robert Pattinson. So, when he was first announced, it's not that I was like, I just wasn't sure. Not because of Twilight, just because I couldn't picture it, because I know what he looks like. I've seen him on the red carpet. I've seen him when he looks like really messy and, not caring how he looks. So that was more of my thing, is how would he even look in the bat suit? Then they came
Yeah,
out with the
I
little
was like, ugh.
yeah, I wasn't sure. It was just the look. I had nothing to do with Twilight. I didn't care about that because I had seen him in other stuff. So I know he can act. Then I saw the little teaser that they had come out with of him testing the bat suit, of actually being in the bat suit. And once I saw that, I was like, yep, this is going to work. And I was done. And I've been wanting him ever since. So I thought his casting was genius. John Turturro is the same one. That one was really high up for me. I knew he was going to be in the movie. I heard a lot of people didn't know he was in the movie. I did. And Paul Dano was more creepy, but John Turturro was the scarier one. Like when he's choking Catwoman and, talking about, just like your mother. I was like, man, which I had a feeling, obviously, that he was most likely the one that killed the mom. I was just like, man, this guy is really ruthless. And then my third pick, I'll do like DJ, top three. And a lot of the credit really goes, I guess, to the makeup artist, but still, I really loved Penguin. Colin Farrell was really, really good. I mean, you can put makeup on somebody and still you can kind of tell. I didn't recognize him down to his accent because, he has a very thick, what is he, Irish? He's a very thick accent. Yeah. So to hear him doing that kind of New York gangster tough, I totally bought it. I was trying so hard to see if I could see him through the makeup and the wardrobe, and I just couldn't. He really impressed me.
Yeah, there was a couple of scenes where I focused in on his eyes and I could tell it was Colin Farrell. But other than that, it was just like, I cannot believe this is Colin Farrell. Such an amazing job.
To me.
You got any additions, Nicole?
Oh yeah. So Robert Pattinson, because I want to throw out my own idea with him. Noticed again, like DJ was explaining, we didn't see any parties, but we also, for the first time, didn't see him in a suit. For the first time, other than for the funeral. But even then, it wasn't like he was dressed to the nines. He was dressed for a funeral, not like, hey, I'm going to go out and get some ladies, or I'm going to go have some fun. Which I absolutely loved. I knew going into this that him and Zoe Kravitz were going to have great chemistry. Could see it through pictures. I was seeing it through video, which was really cool. I was like, oh, these two are going to they're going to hit the ground running. I personally loved the guy who played Riddler. He kept my heart racing, and here's why. Okay, I know he's not what we're used to. He was not yet. I'm gonna use this big word, yet, in the green suit, or more like Jim Carrey and animated that way. But that's the thing that I liked about him, because he's the guy next door that you don't know is plotting crap. Okay, he's like the Riddler, John Wayne Gacy, and he got people hiding in his backyard. So that is why I liked him. He did not look like the everyday Riddler. And then when you started seeing all the creepy stuff he was doing, it was like, oh my gosh, the person next door could be doing this. Like the person, you know what I mean? The person you just passed along on the street, you did not know could be like that, right? Because they look like almost like he looks like the everyday person.
Right.
Except he's not. And I think this is really only the beginning. Well, I think it's really only the beginning with all the characters, but in this series anyways, but that really creeped me out. I was like, this guy could be like next door and I wouldn't know it. I would totally bypass him and that's why I like him. Because if he's outlandish and you know what I mean?
He's just starting out. You know, the Riddler that we know in the comic books, it seems like he's already been well established. That's why we see him in the suit. This guy, and I hate to use it such in a derogatory way, but like Nicole's been saying, because some people haven't really liked the way it's been portrayed. But again, he's just starting out. He's been thrown in Arkham. So could be that he might develop that persona afterwards. And I hate to say this, but he's like the accounting nerd that you wouldn't expect. And that's what makes him all the creepier. And some people said that he kind of lost the creepy factor after he removed his mask. But I think that is what makes him creepy. You literally could pass him on the street and you would never know. I mean, he's being literally portrayed as a serial killer. You know how many serial killers are charming and you would never figure it out?
Oh, yeah. I think
that's why I like the funeral scene. He's just one amongst the crowd. You would never know that he was even there.
Definitely think he was more creepy after he took off the mask.
Yeah, I thought he was even creepier, honestly.
Yeah.
Screaming and yelling like that, and it was unnerving. It was odd.
Even watching the montage at the end with the explosions and his reaction and the way he's just over the top and boom, and the way that it was just it was phenomenal.
It's like he was watching an opera or something. It was crazy. He was theatrical.
Paul Dano did such a great job with it, but I mean, I still was getting a lot of vibes from, I said it in the chat, it's from Seven, the John Doe. Yes. She's up here. Just seemed to channel that sort of vibe. But between him and then you had Carmine Falcone and then the Penguin, it wasn't like other Batman movies where when you have other people show up that they almost try to steal the spotlight from each other. It was married so well within the story that it was amazing. Really, really, really great job.
So we got some new folks or new entries in the chat room. Patrick is with us. Kimberly. And where's the other one? Mr. Rez is with us.
Hey, Mr. Rez.
So thanks for everybody joining us tonight as we talk about the Batman. So here's a character nobody mentioned, and probably because it's not really a character, but a lot of people didn't like this, at least on social media. It seems they were not impressed with, but I thought the Batmobile was really cool.
That was fantastic.
I loved it.
I thought it was amazing.
It was badass.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really fit the tone of the movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't outlandish. It wasn't
A Tumblr.
It wasn't so sci-fi and Wayne Tech driven. It fit perfectly with what he was trying to do, and you could see, again, and I said this in the chat, this was a year 2 story,
Right.
He's young, he's but you get to see flashes of what could possibly happen in the future. That engine that he had in that car, I mean, who knows what it's going to become.
That was
later.
So awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it really was really cool to see. And I think they're really going to take us on this evolution is if they stick with this with this timeline or this universe. So
Patrick says it was a junker slapped together.
I mean, it's his second year. You can see he's tinkering with it, and like it's a garage. So
now, I'm going to assume that the topic we're talking about is what Junker Voice was mentioning here, but
oh Lord. Okay, so I will nitpick one thing in regards to the Batmobile, because other than I really did love it and I thought it was fantastic. I loved the whole scene. I kept going, when did he drive that up? When did that? Because it's just like all of a sudden he just went there. And I was like, and it was suddenly appeared. And that was my only nitpick on that particular scene, because it wasn't like, it was like, how did he?
He's the Batman. He thinks like 12 steps ahead of everybody.
Yeah,
and they're as they're pulling in, you see it in the back.
Yeah, it's in the back. It's covered.
It is already there, and they knew where they were going.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Maybe we'll get that in like a deleted scene or something.
Right.
But
that's why you're picking it. Maybe they just didn't feel like they saw the finished scenes of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I did love it. It's not that I didn't. It's
that Batmobile was amazing.
I loved it.
It was so cool.
Junker or not.
Junker or not. That's right. All right. So how about favorite scenes? And let's start with Nicole.
Oh, favorite scenes. I wasn't thinking about that one ahead of time. How dare you? Favorite scenes. I'm gonna have to pass. I'm gonna give this off to DJ or Shanti, because it's gonna take me a moment. I'm like, I love the whole movie. Like,
yeah.
This is hard to pick just one.
I love the scene. I did love the scene between Bruce and Alfred once Alfred woke up in the hospital.
Man, that was my pick.
I'm sorry. It was just the acting was so good in both.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just the point where he was finally like, okay, I got to knock it off already. So that scene I really enjoyed. And honestly, I think anything involving the young boy, like that, when he just went running towards the young, the little kid, right as the car was driving into the funeral, and just, and that's another thing that I guess I really loved about the movie, is that we didn't get a flashback scene of, Bruce's parents being killed. You were living vicariously instead through the other kids. So I got the emotional connection there. Like those scenes anytime that kid popped up, believe it or not, it really did bring up a lot of emotions in me. And it took the kid to also get the people in the water to trust him, because he went straight for Batman when he's pulling him out. So anything. And then I guess I'm going to do like a top 3 again. My third is, it's okay to spoil. Yeah, I guess at this point, I really loved the end when he is loading that woman onto, in the helicopter, whatever, and he lets go and she grabs onto him, and then he, puts his hand on hers. And I just love that connection of, okay, now he's realizing what he can be doing for Gotham, but he's also seeing like, okay, good, these people are finally accepting me as well.
Yeah.
So it was a very emotional Batman movie, honestly. If you really think about it, I mean, I didn't get that way the first time because I was so hyped up and excited, but then having watched it and then being able to relax and see it a second time and being able to absorb it a little bit more, I got very teary-eyed, throughout the movie the second time around because I was like, man, this guy really paid his respects to this character. He really gets Batman. So that's why I like this movie. So that's why I'm putting it above The Dark Knight.
Mhm.
So,
Sorry, Heath Ledger.
so you, yeah. So, yeah, the Alfred and Bruce scene was a favorite. A couple more I'll mention, and then I'll let DJ do his. The first one is the car chase. I thought that was just awesome, seeing that Batmobile run all over the place, and then Penguin thinking that he had him, and he's dead now, and then shit. Another scene that I really liked was toward the end, the action fight sequence between Batman and Riddler's followers, because I like that because it really showed, even at this point, how well Batman is at holding his own against multiple combatants. And that scene, everything he was doing, and just the whole action sequence kind of reminded me of a fight sequence from one of the Arkham games. And if you've ever played any of those, you know what I mean. But it was just a really cool fight sequence.
Yeah.
Joker Voice is talking about a quote from the movie that I thought was pretty funny as well.
Yeah.
I did like some of the humor. It was done very well.
Yeah. All right, Dina, you got any favorites?
Oh man.
See?
Yeah. So I'll start with the opening.
Yeah.
The way that the Riddler took out the first guy shows the level of ferocity that he was willing to go to.
Killed him with a carpet tool.
we left the campy Batman behind. And it set the tone for the whole movie. The next one is the subway scene. And when you see Batman in other movies, he trips people or he punches people, and it's like a one punch and you're done, and they're out of it. And to show the length that this Batman was willing to go to, almost to that point of no return, and then stop. There was really very little restraint. He just pummels that guy, and then just kept hitting him and kept hitting him. And then right at the last second, he stops. You knew you're dealing with a different type of Batman. And then I would say any interaction that Batman and Catwoman had together was absolutely phenomenal. They did. They had so much chemistry in this movie that I hadn't seen, and they've tried to do this in other Batman movies, to have a Batman in a relationship, and it's just it always came off forced, and this was just so easy, and she was almost like his calmness, and yeah, it was so well done. So that's there's my three.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to admit, I did, as sad as it was, I did like how they captured towards the ending of them on the motorcycles, and then he goes one way and she goes the other, and that really pulled at my heart. And I'm like going, no, you're supposed to go the other way. And then my brain was like, No, Cole. Just give it a few, and hopefully I think they'll be so good in chemistry. I think we'll see them again. We'll get there. I also have to say, they did have good chemistry throughout this whole movie, beginning to end. And even her scenes were pretty spot on for Catwoman. I was wowed by Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. I was like, oh, dang, I think she might have just tied with Michelle Pfeiffer. Like that in a whole. I was really impressed by them. But again, going into this, because based off of what I was seeing on the red carpet, I was like, holy crap. It's like they were almost Batman and Catwoman on the red carpet now, because it's as if they did that and then took it and put it right here on the big screen for us. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. I did love the scene with when they found Riddler finally. That was pretty neat to me when they got to him, and then of course they panned in on the coffee. I was like, oh, I knew it. You know what I mean? And
I just ordered some pumpkin pie.
No, that was
come on, man. Put him in jail, but let him have his pumpkin pie, for Christ's sake.
The show and the cinematography was amazing in this. Like, it was spot on. It was beautiful, from Batman walking through the fire, man. I was like, woo, here we go. You know what I mean? So it was pretty awesome. Just to throw out a few.
I loved like the early morning shots when him and Catwoman are like standing on the what is it, like a skyscraper or scaffolding, whatever it is, like just the orange hues and the use of all the red and black. It was just really beautiful, gorgeous looking movie.
It was, and yet at the same time they kept it dark in a beautiful way, which I also like. I love the fact that they kept in that and didn't just decide we'll go campy with it. They kept at it.
Yeah.
And I agree, Nicole is someone who absolutely loves Michelle Pfeiffer. Zoe was more accurate.
Yeah.
I just purely love Michelle Pfeiffer because of the costume, really. I mean, I still think Michelle Pfeiffer, because of the costume, might be a tad bit sexier. But I knew going into this that Zoe was most likely going to kill it. And I knew she was going to end up being right up there with Michelle Pfeiffer. So I loved her.
With more recent comics that I've seen with Catwoman, I'll be grabbing those out here soon. They actually look like her. It's like, were they playing this? Like, because
spot it on.
And again, I love Michelle too, but
me too.
That's a whole nother episode.
So Dragon Buddy just made a very good point. We were talking about casting earlier. The great part of this movie is when you start going into the character portrayals, you can't stop at Batman or Selena Kyle. Everyone was on point.
Agreed.
Yeah. Like
the whole cast collectively was amazing.
So Patrick says that Zoe is his favorite Catwoman.
I
would have to agree.
She was really good. I like Michelle Pfeiffer, but to me, it's a different Catwoman.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I say it's difficult to compare.
Yeah. It's just like Nicholson was a different type of Joker. He was that campy, theatrical Joker.
He was more like a Cesar Romero Joker.
Right. Yeah. He was more of a callback. I agree.
Yeah. And Catwoman was still along those, let's throw a little camp in there, and just a little over the top, but she did it perfectly. She did a great job in that. This Catwoman, is what, Zoe did an amazing job with it. So, it's a different universe, different, it's like, how can you compare Batmans when, each one's different. Each one was good in their own universe.
Right.
But, we can just talk about the portrayal of this character. I don't want to, compare them to other actors that played a role in a different universe. But
and Batman Returns was intentionally sexed up. I mean, So that's why that Catwoman is so sexualized. I mean, even the lines, having we just rewatched it Batman Returns, and even some of the lines that Danny DeVito is saying as the Penguin, it's like the movie's pretty vulgar, so that's why I say it is hard to compare these two Catwomen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I only had one nitpick, I think, out of the whole movie. One, and it's small, but
What's
to
that?
me, my one nitpick was the score. And Chantal and I talked about this.
Yeah, we did.
After it came out. I liked it. I just thought that it was repetitive. They kept playing the same three notes over and over and over again. It's like we'd get a scene and we'd get some different music, and then we'd be back to the main, the main three chords. Play a little bit of different music, back to the next three, the same three chords. Every time you turn around, and the way, and maybe it was just the sound system in the theater, but those three chords.
It was like Jaws. You knew he was coming.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, okay.
I thought the score was awesome.
Bits and pieces of it were great. I thought that the score was rather repetitive. I would have much rather have. What it reminded me of was, and again, it's another borrowed tactic from Dark Knight. Is when they made Dark Knight, every time the Joker showed up, you had that dissonant chord on the low strings of the cellos, that kind of, and every time you just heard it. Every time he showed up, you had the same thing. They did the same thing in this one with Batman. Anytime Batman showed up, and he showed up a lot, you had the same three chords playing over and over. And maybe it was because it reminded me a lot of the Imperial March, because it's the same chord progression.
Mm-hmm.
But and they just kept doing it over and over and over and over again. And you'd have breaks here and there. Like the Catwoman theme was amazing. Absolutely was gorgeous. And you'd have a few things here, but it was just that overall driving thing, and it just was over the top for me.
I feel like it was intentional, because this Batman at this point right now is so vengeful and so much more imposing and almost villainous, that repetitiveness actually, to me, is what made it feel more unnerving. And here comes my impending doom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in that context, I think it works. Now, I will say it's not one that I would probably want to just listen to on the soundtrack without the movie. I don't think it works without you actually watching it within the movie. But I do agree but the Catwoman theme, I can see myself plugging in my headphones and listening to the Catwoman theme. The Batman one, maybe not so much. So I see what you're saying. I don't think it works outside of the movie.
And it's a very small nitpick. I mean, I love the overall movie. Nitpick. But there's just that one little repetitive thing, and it's just, I would have liked to see something a little bit more. But other than that, 10 out of, well, I won't. Go ahead. Next.
Yeah, I'm with you, DJ. For myself, I mean, I like the score. It's good. It's great. But the night my friend Brandon and I were coming home, I was just like going, okay, I like this, but something's just not gelling with me on this. I want to be able to put them in my headphones and listen to the whole soundtrack and be transformed into the movie. And part of me was just like, am I being transformed into the movie? Because again, that repetitiveness is happening. I was also, this is for a personal me, when Ave Maria played, I'm like, no, they did not make it dark. And I literally, and then the second time, and I'm looking at my friend and I'm like, why? And he's like, what's going on? I'm like going, for me, it was a song that my grandparents had played at their wedding. You know what I mean? And I go, why? Like, it was like that they had played at the end or something, when they were leaving or something. But my grandma loved Ave Maria, so it was just to have it taken and made so dark. I'm like, why? Other than that, I mean, again, a great score. I did like it. It's not that I didn't like it, but again, I guess maybe it's because I've just been doing so much John Williams in the last month that I've been like so used to listening to a soundtrack, and I'm being transported. I don't even need I could be just listening to it. I don't even need to be seeing it, and I can be transformed into that. And I guess for me, I was just like, with this one, it's great, it's terrific, but I don't know if I can be transported all the way to that level just yet. And maybe we'll see the progression later with that. But as of right now, like you, DJ, I'm like, yeah, it's too repetitive. I don't know. Just I like it. Just there's something still missing for me.
Small, little bitty.
It's little bit.
I figured there has to be something that in there that that I just would have liked something different. And not saying it's bad. I just would have liked something a little different.
Did Steve Frozen? Is he in Carbonite?
No,
I don't
he's
think so.
thinking. He's deep in thought.
It looks like
You wanted something more epic.
I was like, wait, did he get frozen in Carbonite?
Which I was going to look at who did the score for. Let's see. Go ahead,
For this
discuss. I'll
movie?
look this up.
It's Michael, but I can never pronounce his last name.
Gia.
Exactly. I couldn't pronounce it. Michael
Giacchino.
Chino? Yeah, something like that.
Giacchino.
Composer of Ratatouille.
Oh, that's a good fun fact.
I love that movie.
What did you think of the look of Gotham?
I loved it. Some people had a problem with it, like always, making the running joke. It's always dark. It's always raining. It's Batman, dude. What do you want it to be?
Again?
I don't know what you want it to be. Like, Batman's
Chicago,
a creature of the
I mean-
night, and
So I know coming home, again, my friend Brandon and I, we were talking about this. We actually felt this is the first time when we felt like we weren't actually seeing Gotham as Chicago. We both did not feel that for us. And maybe again for us, we knew when we were watching The Dark Knight, we knew that it had been done in Chicago. We had one of our current teachers that was in The Dark Knight. So we, you know what I mean? For us, it's familiar. We're used to seeing that. And we felt like this is the first time maybe we felt a little bit more transported into Gotham that looked more like New York, because they literally pushed New York onto it. I mean, you could see it with different statues, different buildings, and different skylines. And you knew what bridge wasn't there, that would not normally be in Chicago. And we were just like, wow, this is Gotham, but this is more East Coast New York Gotham versus
Gotham Square Gardens. Anyone catch that? Madison Square Gardens.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, okay, so we're back to New York. All right.
Exactly. We really did. We were like, this is not what we're used to. It wasn't that we just didn't dislike it, but we were kind of like, man, we got a different kind of Gotham, which in a way, it's a good thing. It's a fresh take on Gotham. But then I'm like going, shoot, I'm used to my Marvel being in New York and my DC being in the Midwest. Give me it back. But other than that, no, I mean, it was awesome. I liked it. Again, I like the darkness, and the gritty. So pretty good. Other than I miss my Chicago feel, but that's all right. What about you, Steve?
What about you guys? What do you think about
this
Gotham? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was
Dirty,
kind
it was
of
grimy. I wouldn't want to
kinda
live there. Yeah.
because you always say. I mean, at least for me, when you hear Gotham, I think of Chicago, and I don't know if that's because Rose always posting pictures. Hey, look, they're back
But you
to.
see, I grew up with Tim Burton, and Tim Burton to me always made it look like New York. So I've always associated Gotham with New York. I didn't associate Gotham with Chicago until the Nolan films.
Okay.
Never did. Yeah, I never felt that way
just-
about Batman.
I always thought, and to me, it was I was the opposite. I always thought Metropolis was New York and Gotham was Chicago. And then you start seeing like in this one where it was almost the opposite, where everything Gotham Square Garden and Times Square, or Gotham Square, I think is what they called it, with all the televisions and everything was there. But I liked it. Anybody that's been to New York, will understand the the look and the feel of especially Manhattan. At night it really has that feel. It's you just really got to be careful where you're walking around there. So.
Because the subway scene really literally I've been in New York City many times, and I'm like, I was like, this is New York.
Yeah.
Subways are scary in New York.
Yeah.
All right. Was there anything else about the movie you guys wanted to talk about before we jump into our listener poll?
Predictions?
What's that?
Predictions.
I
don't know. For me, it's a little early for predictions. Although I did mention a possible storyline to Steve that if they're going to do another one, they could possibly do, which I guess I could bring that up and people can go and read that. It's in Batman Volume 4, and it's called War of Jokes and Riddles. And I'll leave it at that, and you guys can go read that series and see what you think. But I think that they said that they're already talking about making another one, which is cool. I'll try to go into that one just like I did this one without any spoilers or anything. I didn't even watch the trailer. I kind of wanted it to be a fun surprise, and it really was.
Very cool.
I have no predictions. Not for the second movie, at least. I've been saying for at least the third movie, I would love a big Arkham Asylum breakout. That'd be great. And I think the shows on HBO Max are going to have to do something to connect everything, because if he's only going to do a trilogy, how are you going to introduce new villains without having to do another 3-hour movie, you know what I mean, to get into the backstory? So I'm hoping maybe that's what the Arkham show is going to do, maybe. And then maybe that's how a new villain will get introduced. Because I can't imagine they're going to use the Riddler again as the main villain for the second movie. And I don't think they're going to bring in you-know-who either for the second movie. If they do, it's going to be done very lightly.
Yeah.
And I think you know what I mean when I say you-know-who. The guy in the cell next door.
Yep. Yeah, I think putting them in the second movie might be.
I think it'll be the third movie.
Don't copy Nolan. Yeah, don't make the second movie a Joker movie.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the third movie
That's
of
what I don't
Nolan,
want.
the third movie of Nolan's was going to have the Joker in it as well.
Right.
But
Unfortunately,
things happen. Unfortunately, but I would see that happening. Maybe you'll get a breakout in in the second movie or at the end of the second movie, and then you have the third movie where you have who in it as like the end all type.
Exactly.
So,
what do you got there, Nicole?
Well, I'm just going to say his name, and I'm going to play show and tell, because I've already showed and told these a little bit, but I think this is the where they're going. And to get to what Shanti was talking about and the asylum and things like that, because when I seen the Joker, all I could think of was this. And all I could think of was, oh, look at the Riddler, look at the puzzle. This was one of the series I've been reading this year, and this is also the one that looks just like Catwoman, our current Zoe Kravitz. And it kind of goes into that, and I can kind of see them getting to that point, or possibly number 3. I can kind of see them possibly going about what happened to the Riddler. I can kind of see them going crazy with this, because I've been saying this when we talked about when this first came out. I was like going, man, that reminds me of this comic book series. Nobody's really talking about it except for, but it does, because even the Joker that's in here, he looks just like the one that they have in there. I'm like going, that he looks spit on. I mean, perfect with him. So we'll see. I mean, that's just me. I loved actually the Joker scene. I thought that was pretty neat. I know a lot of people, some people weren't happy about it, but I was like, you know what? I'm okay with it. Maybe they needed a little bit of cameo to prepare for future, and I think that's what they did. I think they're setting up for something pretty awesome, and I think they might be doing a little bit of like a Marvel. They're going to do the shows to prepare for the big story,
Mhm.
you know, and we're going to get
That's why I think they're focusing on Arkham right now instead of the Gotham PD.
right. Well, this one actually covers both a little bit.
Yeah. Now,
And it really
as for
does
the
other-
Joker appearance, I did not like it the first time I saw it. I enjoyed it better the second time around. I wasn't sure because my first thought was, ugh. I was like, are we really going to do this? Are we going to go Nolan? But now, having watched it a second time, I was like, you know what? I'm okay with it.
No, we
Yeah.
just lost DJ.
Bye,
Oops.
DJ. He said he had to run.
Oh,
Yeah. But no, I just,
okay.
again, when I saw him, I was like, oh my gosh, it's the comic books. But, you know.
Do you think there is going to be a time skip,
Yes.
a large time skip in the second movie?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Possibly.
I had discussed on another stream that we were thinking maybe like a 5-year jump.
Mm-hmm. That would make more sense.
Yeah.
Give
You
them
know, and then we'll get to see a little bit more of Alfred being his, man in the chair kind of thing.
Man, I really hope so.
But I hope,
Yeah, 'cause
though,
I was really enjoying Andy Serkis, his portrayal.
and I would definitely love to still see Catwoman back because
She'll be back.
I think that there's so much more story there that we can still get. And she's in these comic books, so
She's gonna have to go back for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with Joker Voice that the next movie, it's way too early for Hush.
Okay.
I guess there's been some talk about the word Hush scene in the movie.
That was me.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think it's way too early for Hush. As much as I'd love to see that. Yeah, it's way too early. I mean, the 5 years sounds like a good time for them to explore. Not only for the reasons that you mentioned, but you've got a lot more options as to which villains to bring in.
Right. And in this, it's like they bring out everything in the kitchen sink. Every villain that I can think of is in it. And I kind of hope we'll see more villains that are beyond the ones we've seen.
Yeah.
And I think they will do it, I think, through the TV shows and possibly in the future movies.
I want something new.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
what we've already had, but new now, because we haven't ever
Right.
seen them in.
It's
You know.
also too early for Bane.
I don't know if I would want to see that character again either, honestly.
Mhm.
We saw him in the Schumacher film, which was terrible. We saw him in the Nolan film. And I personally didn't like Tom Hardy very much. Like, I'm kind of over that character.
Well, I'll probably talk more about this when we get to our movie episode, but I both liked and disliked the Tom Hardy Bane.
Yeah.
For different reasons. But we can get into that another time. But yeah, it's too early for Bane.
Mhm.
I could see Scarecrow.
Yeah. Scarecrow.
Yeah,
I
I had mentioned that one too, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we only got a taste of him in the Nolan films, so that'd be a cool one to explore.
Yeah.
Less.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Scarecrow could be interesting. We'll probably talk about this when we get to our
And they
Rogues
can't be
Gallery
they can't be
episode.
too supernatural either, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Batman can go one of two ways.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You
Can
can't
either
you
be
can't-
super grounded, or you can start bringing in the poison ivies and Clayface and all the crazy.
Yeah, you can't do
supernatural
Man-Bat.
villains.
You can't do Man-Bat. I don't think Mr. Freeze would work.
I think you actually could make that work just because the way he is, and I guess what he uses to defend himself can be made like it's science. So I feel like that one's a little bit more plausible. But like as much as I would love to see Poison Ivy, she couldn't be in this universe.
Yeah.
Like that wouldn't work.
Um,
Which is a shame.
Trying to think who else we could bring in.
I had said Two-Face on another stream.
Yeah,
I just don't know how you would go about that.
That
it's only a trilogy, so how do you introduce him? It would have to be done in the show.
That could help. Yeah, I mean that would work because they just lost their district attorney.
Right.
Take your pick.
Let me see. Who we got?
That's the whole page. Yep, there's options.
Oh yeah, there's definitely options.
Joker just said Black Mask could work. I could see that.
Okay.
That was there. Yep.
I could see that. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of predictions and speculations we can make, but
he has a huge gallery.
Yeah,
villains. So,
and we will talk about that in our Rogues Gallery episode, which I don't know when that'll be. We haven't really planned out. We just know what type of episodes we want to do.
I'm with Joker Voice on this. Please, no Robin. I don't want to see him. I think it's also too early for that. I don't want to see Robin. I've never liked Robin. I think all he does is bring Batman and hold him down. I have never liked the character of Robin, so I don't want to see that at all in this trilogy. I've never liked Robin. I'm all about Batman. I don't want to see Robin.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into our listener poll. So we asked those of you that follow us on Twitter, which is where? It is at Rogue #1 Radio. So we asked our Twitter followers, what is your favorite live action Batman movie? And we got a good number of responses. And tabulating the results here. So the winner won by a distance of 1 vote.
Sorry.
Coming in second place was The Dark Knight.
We can guess what #1 is then.
Yes, #1 is the 1989 Michael Keaton Batman movie.
By 1 vote. As soon as you said it, I'm like,
So I gotta ask, Joker Voice, are you joking? No pun intended. When that's not really a movie, but
hey, he's better than George Clooney in my opinion.
Listen, that's not George's fault. Rest in peace, because he's dead and I don't like to speak. But that's Schumacher's fault. Schumacher's gone. I don't want to, say anything bad about the dead, but Schumacher did a terrible job. That is not. That is George Clooney being placed in a bad Batman movie, because I think George could have been good. He was debonair. Like I could have, especially in the Bruce Wayne part of it, I could have bought it for sure. But it's just Schumacher destroyed Batman.
I would have to agree with you. As an actor, I think he had the potential to be a really good Batman, but he was put in a crap movie.
Mm-hmm.
So Joker Voice thinks that Ben Affleck, I'm not sure if he's kidding, but he thinks that Ben Affleck is the best live action Batman.
He's allowed his opinion.
Oh, I know, but I just no.
Well, I guess I'm gonna get some words because I actually agree with him.
I can't believe I came on this show.
Do you want to boot yourself?
I will give him that he was a good Bruce Wayne, but I didn't see him enough as Batman to make a judgment, to tell you the truth.
Will agree with that.
He didn't get his standalone. He was just featured everywhere.
I think it would have been. I think if we would have finally gotten a solo Batman film Now, keep in mind, this is an older Batman. This is a very old Batman.
Right. So that's fine. So I get that.
To me, and I don't know what Joker voices reasoning for his decision. He, out of all of the folks that have played Batman and Bruce Wayne, he looked the part more than any of them.
That's because of his frame. He's huge.
Yes.
Right, his frame.
And Affleck's like 6'4".
Yeah.
That's true.
But I liked the way he portrayed.
I did like him very much as Bruce Wayne. Yes. I will admit that.
I will say I will agree with you that we did not get enough of him as Batman to make a good judgment call. But what I did see, I liked him as Batman.
And granted, I didn't see Batman versus Superman or whatever the hell it was. So I only saw him in the little bit that he was in Suicide Squad and then the Snyder 4-hour cut. So that's the most I've gotten of Affleck as Batman. Oh, and the Joss Whedon disaster.
That being said, I think Robert is probably a very close number 2.
He's one of my favorites.
And I put Robert at the top.
Understood.
At this point. I do.
Yeah.
And I think he's still growing.
Yeah.
As the character as well. I think he's in early development on this.
In terms of like an early Batman, a second-year Batman, I really enjoyed what I saw.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so I guess that is it. I want to thank everybody in the chat room for coming in and hanging out with us and talking about Batman. Extra special thanks goes to Chantal for coming in and talking Batman with us. And just remember, this is the first part of a Batman series that
will continue in 2 weeks.
It will continue, not necessarily next week, but this will be an ongoing series. Next week we actually have an episode with the guys from a certain point of view.
Yep, Adam will be here with us,
and we will be talking about the dark times of Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Be very interesting.
Ooh, I'm tuning in for that.
Yeah,
bronze here.
Huge Disney nerd.
So, again, if you're watching us here on YouTube, please make sure that you hit the like and the subscribe buttons. Help us get to that 100 subscriber goal that we've been trying to hit for a while. And stay tuned for more merchandise news coming in the upcoming weeks. We will have some more merch. At this point, still just more stickers, but better than nothing. And make sure that you follow us on the Twitter and the Instagram, all that good stuff, and on Facebook. Now that we have somebody actually paying attention to it. But again, thanks for everybody coming in. And as promised earlier, we are going to log off here, but stick around for the end credit scene. If you are a fan of the Firefly TV show, I'm going to play a very interesting version of the theme song. But that is it for us. We'll see you next week. Have a great night.